Today we're talking about time management principles that come from the Bible. And when I say time management, I mean time management and planning, because the concept, the idea of time management is kind of interesting to me, because you cannot manage time. You can only manage yourself and your plans. But so in order for you to manage yourself, you need a plan, and then you make yourself do the things that are planned in order for you to be able to take advantage of the time that you have. So here today we're talking about the idea of planning the time that we are given and how it aligns with the Bible. And because I have a lot of principles here, I'm going to split it up in two different videos. And we'll start with two, because I'm sure that as I read, there will be more and more principles that I will be able to add on to the series of biblical time management and planning. But today I'm starting with part 1, and then the next video is going to be part 2. If the part 2 is already out, it is going to be linked somewhere in the cards as well as in the description. If there will be more videos added to the time management, hopefully I remember to link it all in the description of the video so it all stays together and we're nice and organized. Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Yana. I am a mom of 4 children, and I'm a wife, and I'm a working mother. I am a wedding photographer, so my schedule blends in with my husband's corporate schedule pretty well. And so that's why I have some time to be able to plan these kinds of things, like videos once in a while, and hopefully share some things with you that hopefully can make your life better, more peaceful, more in order, so that your heart can be at peace, so that you can manage your life, your children, your husband relationship, so that your life can glorify God and you can feel like you are doing a good job and you feel fulfilled and not chaotic, because I feel like when it's a chaos everywhere, it gets a little bit hard. So let's do this. I apologize for the light. The sun is shining through the curtains and it feels so happy. So hopefully you don't mind it. So I will start. Today we're going to look at 7 different principles, and the next time, as far as I know, it's going to be 5. So time management and planning principle from the Bible, number 1, is that we'll start with a big picture. And everybody says life. In the Bible, and the idea of God giving us life and God giving it all for us, and setting up the concept of time, that our life is on earth here limited, brings us to the understanding that the life here on earth is not all we have. So our planning and organization of our life should be beyond life here on earth, meaning the eternity. We are going to come before God, and we're told that being a good steward, you will be entrusted with whatever you can manage. So there will be towns and cities and communities to manage and to make sure that everything is organized in heaven. So here on earth, we are practicing doing what we are going to be doing in heaven. So planning, number 1, planning for our character and not workaholism. That's not what I meant to say. The idea of hard work and being able to organize ourselves is how we are going to be managing things in heaven when we are there together with Jesus. All those mansions and the cities of gold, that's what we will be in charge of and managing. And so number 1 is to be able to manage what will be given there. Number 2, still within the point number 1, is that actually making it to the eternity with God. And the way to do it is, Jesus tells us He is the only way, truth, and light, and He is the way to God. So if you do not know God, Yahweh, the Creator, and Jesus, the Redeemer, who allows us to enter into the heaven, into the holy presence of God, and the Holy Spirit, the Counselor, and our day-to-day advisor. If you do not know them, you can watch some of the content on my channel, because I do talk about God quite a lot. But I feel like the best thing to do is to read the Bible, full Bible, the Torah, as well as the New Testament, that will give you the concept and the idea and the understanding of who God is and what He planned us for. This way you will get to know God and Jesus and Holy Spirit. And this is the idea of long-term planning. You have the whole life to study, to figure out for yourself what is this actual the truth. And there are many resources everywhere. And so it's great to consider different religions, of course, but when people have done hard work for you already, it's great to come and make a fair comparison to different religions. I can recommend a book. In addition to the Bible gives a good full understanding of human nature as well as God nature. Another great book to read would be I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist. I'm going to link it in the description of the video, which reviews different religions and different understanding of religion. So you can do the research and learning for yourself so that you can feel the responsibility, and so that nobody's tricking you, nobody's forcing you to do anything. God gave us free will and a bright mind to everybody, and no matter your IQ, you are able to view this beautiful world and see that there is more to it than just our flesh and fleshly desires and this short life here on earth. So that was principle number one. That was quite a long principle. Hopefully the rest of them go a little bit faster. So number two, because the rest of them are more principle, more earthly, and I feel like whenever it's earthly, it's like a little bit more streamlined, a little bit more clear than the eternal question. So principle, time, get it, baby. Oh, right there. Time management and planning. Bible principle number two is to plan for seasons of life. That is the next step up from the life. So basically 7 to 10 year, 7 maybe to 15 year chunks of life that we should be planning for. That principle comes from the story of Joseph. If you do not know the story, is that his brothers, Abraham, Jacob, Abraham, Isaac, Abraham, Isaac, Abraham was the father, then he had a son Isaac, then he had a son Jacob. Jacob had 12 sons, one of whom was Joseph. Jacob, in his unfair human love, loved Joseph more than everybody else, and he made it very clear to all his children that he loved Joseph more than everybody else. And so his brothers hated Joseph for a couple other reasons there too, but then eventually, and so Joseph's brother finally found an opportunity to get rid of him, and so they sold him into slavery to Egypt. And so there is a long story of Joseph living in Egypt and coming from the slave, rising all the way to the ranks of the second in command next to Pharaoh. And so Pharaoh, the way it happened was that Pharaoh had a dream. God gave Pharaoh a dream about something that only Joseph was able to interpret. And the dream was then for Joseph to implement. And so what happened was that it was revealed to Pharaoh through Joseph, through God, that there will be 7 years of abundant, blessed harvest. And so they will have enormous amount of food produced in Egypt during that year. But then after that, there will be 7 years of starvation. There will be no good harvest for 7 years all throughout the earth, all throughout the land. And so Joseph said that we have to build the storage for the grain so that we can survive all of the 7 years of no harvest that is coming towards us. So, and that's what they did. And then they were selling bread to the people, to Egyptians, as well as everybody internationally. So what does that story, how does that parallel to our lives today? We have quite actually longer time than 7 years. Our careers start when we're 20 all the way until we're like 50. So like 25 years or so, 25 till 60 or whatever. However long that we have a strong career where we make enormous, comparably, which they are enormous amount of money. When you were little, you made zero money. You basically like spend money. When you are old, I cannot think of any other politically correct, retired. Thank you, God. When you are retired, your strength, your physical strength is not the same as it used to be. You rely fully to a degree on the years prior that you made enormous amounts of money in comparison to other seasons of life. Childhood, maturity, retired age. So here we make a lot more money than we make here. And that is the season for us to wisely plan our lives with the tasks at hand, with probably small children in the house. That's another 7 to 10 to 15 years, depending on how many children you have, when you have to actively care for the children versus actively commit yourself to the career and wealth building. Then there is the pension, when you have to wisely use up the resources. You cannot just like squander all of them in the first couple of years of your pension. You have to wisely use the time and resources with that. Your health is probably slowly declining. So there is only so many things that you are able to do when you are getting older. Like there are certain things, like with travel and with grandchildren, there are so many things. When you're younger, obviously that's the time to help the children to spend those 10 to 15 years of schooling and training for the job, and like setting them up for the maturity when they will be having the children, as well as making most of their money in their life. So that is what we're planning for, is like we are in this season of life, what we need to get done during these 7 to 15 years of our life. What is the next season entailing? And so we're looking at the chunks of our life and mapping out large, very large goals, setting up the pension, the retirement plan, understanding the healthcare, understanding our life goals for the family. Because if you don't have the children here in this block of time, 7 to 15 year block of time, then you probably will be a lot harder to have the children a little bit later in the next block of time. And if you did not have the children in this block of time, then obviously there is no children or grandchildren. So it's like you plan, if you don't have the career, if you have not set up yourself for the career in the younger years, then the choices of the careers are a little bit more limited. So it's hard if nobody tells us what to expect, if we don't come to the time, if we don't sit down and think about those blocks of like very clear blocks of time of the childbearing, of the wealth building, of the money making, of their retirement and health decline, but at the same time hopefully children and possibly grandchildren there in the mix. It's like, and of course not everybody gets to have all of it, but most of us, the majority, the averages, is that's what you need to be planning for. If nobody taught us about those things, we are not aware of them, and then we just live our life as best as we know how to, and that is okay. But that is the idea, is that if somebody teaches you to look at those 7 to 15 year seasons of life and plan for them, you are much better set up. If you do not have an advisor to tell you that, then you sit down yourself, you analyze what are the seasons of life that are coming your way. Do you want to have a family? If you don't, then are you okay with a life that is coming to you? Even though I say, are you okay? Again, a small majority will not get married, will not get to have a well-paying job because they were not set up, have not saved for retirement. And so now it's your job to understand, what is this that I am dealing with? How can I make sure that I am a good steward of whatever I have right now for the leftover of my life, and ask God for wisdom and ask God for contented heart, and be a good steward of whatever it is that you have. You're never late for anything that God cannot help you go through. But if you have certain ideas, God sets up life in a certain ways, and God sets up life in seasons. And so that's our job, to look at the seasons that we have and see, okay, this sounds like a fun, exciting opportunity. God set up the life this way. Can I take myself on a journey through these seasons of 7 to 15 years? How can I take advantage of them? And how can I build the life that sounds fun to me? And obviously, that's one of the principles. That is the last one for me, but let me mention it. That in Proverbs 5, in Proverbs 3, 5, 6, it says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean onto your understanding. Some things we do not understand in the plan, in the things that are going to happen. In all your ways, acknowledge him. In all your plans, in all your ways, the things that you're setting up, you're building the path, you're building a plan, you're implementing the plan. Acknowledge him. We plan. Our job is to plan whatever we deem good for us. But God acts within the boundaries, not within the boundaries. We are within the boundaries of God's big plan. And we are in charge of managing blocks of time that I will be talking about in a second more. So we are planning. God gives us the freedom to plan. But when he intervenes, when he takes us slightly on a different path, we got pregnant accidentally, or we never got married as we thought that we're going to. We got a sickness that is now affecting how much money we can make. The things that we're just like, okay, this is not how I have envisioned my life. So in all your ways, acknowledge him. God is in the ultimate control, and even though there's a lot of freedom that we have been given, which sometimes is scary. Sometimes it's just like, wow, Lord, are you sure you are okay giving this decision to me? But we make a lot of decisions. And there's always this fine balance of what we are doing versus how God is all working this all in this big plan, all for our good. And we need to acknowledge this, that if we love him, all of that's happening is all for our good. So now coming to the third Bible time management and planning principle is the yearly planning. The yearly actually, I probably am going to mix this up together with principle number 4, which is quarterly planning. If you have heard of the book 12-Week Year, highly recommend, really good book. However, it is not complete because quarterly planning must be done in the understanding of the yearly planning. For centuries, thousands of years, people used to plan in the yearly planning in accordance with the quarters. There is clear seasonality that comes within the year. That is the spring, which is biblical New Year, is the spring. The sowing and the preparation of the fields, putting in the seed into the field, then the season of hard work in the heat, in the sun, and taking care of the harvest that is growing. Then it's the season of harvest and redistribution of the harvest, of what is going to get eaten and what is going to be stored until the next spring for the next sowing season. And then it's the season of winter, which is the reset, the analysis, the understanding, the rest, rejuvenation. So understanding that you have to plan for this cycle, even though we don't live too much. If you're a farmer, you probably are still living in the active seasons of harvest and collection and sowing and whatever. A lot of us do not live in this. I kind of do live in that season because I'm a wedding photographer, so my work is very seasonal. There is seasons of overwhelm with work where I make most of my money, and do a lot of the work. And then there are seasons like winter where I get to analyze, reset. There's a lot of admin work that I have to do. There are passion projects like this of helping other moms to hopefully have a better life and understanding and have the priorities set and organized as best as you know how to. And this is also the time when I can spend more time with my children, even though summer, that's another thing, that school year also brings in a lot of seasonality for most of the parents as well, because then when the kids are off from school, there are things that you have to be paying attention to within those quarters of the year. But coming to the beginning of the year and mapping those things out and knowing, okay, this is what I'm going to be doing this quarter, this is what I'm going to be doing this quarter, and so on, will give you more clarity, more organization, and less chaos. And chaos is not good, because you're wasting your resources, financial, time, energy. You are losing, like literally just dropping them left and right if you are disorganized. And if you are organized, the resources are used way better, financial resource, because I am making most of my money end of spring, summer, fall. But I know that if I'm not making money right now, it's okay, because those money are planned for and organized, and that's fine. Same thing with time. I know that I have to be incredibly careful with my time throughout the summertime, because it's literally deadline after deadline. But when the winter comes, I still have to plan for my marketing, like blogging and social media posts, as well as booking process. There's a lot more bookings happening during this season, and also things like this right now. I hope to be able to record more videos so that during summertime you guys get to watch some of the helpful and encouraging things throughout the summertime, when I will not be able to physically record anything. And so understanding this within your year planning, everybody's life is going to be just a little bit different based on the job or homeschooling or the responsibilities that you have within your family, small children, big children, pets, or whatever it is that you have. That looking at a year as a whole within the time frame of quarters is incredibly important, because then you will not miss anything when you come to your quarterly planning. And now coming to the quarterly planning, the next principle is 4. I'm going to intermingle it with the principle number 5. And I'm so sorry for intermingling it. I feel like American way and Western way of life is very separate, when we know that Eastern way of life is very much interconnected, and that's how Bible is. It's like so fun to come to the Bible and pull out the individual principles of it, of parenting, of marriage, of money management, of community building, of time management. But when you come to it as a whole, it's like references each other so much. That's why reading Bible is so great, because then you get a big picture, and then you're able to understand if somebody quotes the Bible and misrepresents the Bible and God and is manipulating the Bible, or if they're actually talking the truth coming from the Bible as a principle, coming from a big concept, like a big picture. I hope I'm clear, because a puzzle piece is correct, but it has to match the big picture from the big puzzle. I hope that makes sense. So I'm intermingling only because it's deeper, it's more meaningful when you intermingle the concepts. I hope you don't mind it. So quarterly planning is principle number 4, intermingled with weekly planning, principle number 5. So quarterly, I have already said that seasonalities, the 13 weeks within the quarter is a season. You come to a season of, let's say, spring. And now here you see this big sewing project that is in front of you. For me, it's going to be, okay, a lot of weddings coming in, the beginning of invoices sent out, timelines finalized, consultations about the wedding days, planning for the wedding days, actually showing up and starting working the days. If it's garden, you are actually putting in the garden, planting in the seeds, putting in the plants, setting up the greenhouses, planning for your watering systems. A lot of work. And any area that you would come to, whatever it is that you are doing in life, you come to that quarter and you say, this is the work that I have to accomplish. I have 13 weeks. I say 12 weeks to actually work, and then 1 week for a reset. It works pretty clear in my mind. And so you tell yourself, okay, this is my quarter. Now we're breaking it up into 12 weeks, and we say, this is what I'm doing every week for this quarter. This obvious God put in season is broken up into the God built in weeks. And so then you map out, okay, this week I'm doing this week I'm going to be doing this week this, and that is, you're breaking it down in even smaller chunks. Once you plan out your quarter, then you live your quarter. I do not recommend planning each week of a quarter so granularly, so much ahead of time that things might change so greatly. Life and God can take you into a completely different direction than you anticipated. And so I recommend planning the quarter ahead of you. And that's how the 12-week year becomes so helpful, because it helps you to focus on those 12 weeks ahead of you and be very productive in those 12 weeks. And so once the quarter ends, then you see, how is my health doing? How are my children doing? What is happening with my career? Have I been laid off? Have I not been laid off? Do I have a super busy schedule coming up with a lot of projects? How is the weather doing? Everything that is affect your life, every quarter is very nice to review and then adjust your flow of life very much. So now we have planned the quarter. Now we're coming to the weeks. We planned the weeks, like general ideas, what needs to happen each week, which the idea of the God-built week, I hope, is clear. If you have never read Bible, then go to the first book of the Bible, Genesis. Go to the first chapter of the Bible, Genesis 1, and read the first chapter. That's where God gives us the basic. I feel like a week is the very basic. It's like a cell of the time management. The basic unit of the time management is a week, where within a week it's like the basic cycle of what needs to happen in your life, because you have a day of rest. This is the day of your reset. And then you have 6 days of work, and God knew the final clear vision for the world. He knew it's like the planning based of the goal of the vision that he had. And he's like, okay, this day I'm going to do this. This day I'm going to do this. This day I'm going to create this. And that will take me to my rest. Within 6 days, I'm going to accomplish all of this. He distributed his work evenly, because on some days he created one thing, on another day he created two things. And so you look at the volume at your work that has to be done, has to be completed within a week. And so you come to your week and you map out the details, more granular, what needs to get done. And so now we're coming to the sixth principle, which is the day-to-day planning, which is, I think you saw that coming. Daily planning is incredibly important. And sometimes, not sometimes, at least for me, anyone who has a busy life, which I think anyone who has children will have a busy life, you must plan day to day and focus on the daily. God planned his day and he accomplished one thing. Jesus tells us, do not worry about the next day. Each day has a worry of itself. Focus on the thing that is in front of you and live through one day. And for me, what it means is that I make a schedule for myself, what time I need to wake up, what needs to get done, what I am cooking, what I am doing, what my children are doing, and all of the things that need to get done that day. I plan specifically for that specific day. All of my days, even though they have a flow and patterns to them, but all of them are very unique at the same time, because the tasks that I will be working on for my work, for my photography work, are going to be different. The meals that I'm cooking, the household, the chores that I will be doing are going to be different. So I need to come to the day, look at my to-do list, and know exactly what I'm doing so that I do not waste time figuring that out. So day-to-day planning is incredibly important. If it's a wedding day, it's going to be very different for me. If it's a grocery shopping day, it's also going to be different. If there are some extra errands to do, if there is a special home project, it is all unique to that specific day, and I know exactly where it goes, so that again, I'm not wasting time on my organizing of my tasks in the morning, in the middle of the day. And speaking middle of the day, the last principle of the time management that God and Bible gives us is planning in the evening. In the Bible, God specifically mentions the morning and the evening because the day starts in the evening. The planning needs to happen in the evening for what you're planning on doing tomorrow, so that if you have to wake up earlier than normal tomorrow, you are not waking up at your regular 8 o'clock in the morning and then you're just like, oh wait, I was supposed to wake up at 5 or 4:30. The point of planning in the evening so that tomorrow you are starting well. And another thing to start your day the night before is to go to sleep on time. Based on whatever time you need to wake up tomorrow, you need to go at an appropriate time to sleep in that evening, because if you go to bed too late, then you are going to be sleep deprived, and being sleep deprived, multiple reasons why this is so inefficient, so unproductive, unhealthy, could I say sinful? Even though I say it, I do this regularly, and every time it happens, I know this is bad. Don't do that again. Going to sleep later than you're supposed to, later than planned, is bad. Literally sin. So let's plan accordingly, go to sleep on time, and have a beautiful, productive, organized life that does not feel like chaos. You guys, I hope this was helpful. In my next video, I will tell you more principles from the Bible. Right now, I do not know, do we need the review or no? It's basically from eternity, big picture, eternity, life within the seasons, year to year, season to season, week to week, day to day. I hope this was helpful. Dear God, thank you for the word of the Bible that you give us. Thank you for so much detail that you are providing us with to help us live productive, beautiful, organized lives, and help us to listen to your word, listen and obey, listen and respond, and do accordingly. Let us not be the listeners only, but put things on the to-do list so that we can implement beautiful lives that we find fulfilling, and that you take pleasure in looking down at us and saying that we are doing a great job. Okay, you guys, thank you so much for spending some time with me. I hope to see you in my next one, God willing. The next one is coming next week. Bye-bye.